Do you find in your life, this is a quiz I give a lot of people, more people you know personally talking about God than you did, say, 10 years ago?
Yes. And I am that person. I mean, I was an atheist 10 years ago.
What happened?
I had my daughter.
Yeah.
That's, as I found God the day my wife delivered our first child, and which is a fairly common experience. I know other people who have had the same thing, were atheists until that moment. And
what changed in you?
So, all right. So it was basically, so I met it's a fairly normal story, but I met my wife and we got engaged, and then we got married. So my wife's like the most amazing chick. She's just great. And I know it's always a thing to say. It's like my wife's better than your wife type thing. But everybody who knows my wife, I don't mean you, I've never met your wife, but she is better. And just kidding.
No, I don't hear people compliment their spouses enough, actually. I don't think everyone always says that. I wish people said that more often.
Well, I do. It's not me. She's really just the best. Everyone who knows her would agree. I mean, like, it's just like, she's like the most amazing woman. She's just gorgeous, and she's really super smart, and she's really sweet and kind. And she's just like, she puts everyone above herself. She's like, I really hit the lottery with her. And I was never, I was like habitually single. I was never a relationship guy.
Yes.
And I never really wanted to get married. I kind of always had this view of like, women are trying to change you or trying to control you. Every girl that I ever dated always wanted a relationship, and then they always wanted me to not do this or not do that. And
yes.
My wife was she just had my back. She just always like wanted to make my life better. And she did. And I fell in love with her.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with this woman. And so then when she got pregnant, I was just very excited. It was like, you just got married, got a baby on the way. I was just like, this is the best. Like, I'm really excited to do this. And I was right. It was the best thing I've ever done. And so the day that she was over her due date. So then they scheduled to come in to induce pregnancy, because they don't let you go too long these days, which I guess is maybe they're right about that. I don't know. But anyway, so we go to the hospital.
They get the Pitocin out.
Yes, that's right. So we're at Lenox Hill Hospital on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. And by the way, I should add, just leading into the story, I had been like a militant atheist when I was younger. I had started to open up my mind a little bit to being like, I was seeing some of the holes in the atheist arguments, but I still was not like a believer in God. And so we were at Lenox Hill Hospital, and this was the first one. This is how it started. Was the anesthesiologist came in to give my wife an epidural, and at Lenox Hill, or at least this guy, they asked me to leave the room. They said they ask the fathers to leave the room when they do it, because they're putting a spinal thing in, and they have to be very, very precise.
It's horrifying
to
see it,
right.
Yeah.
So like, and they don't want you there to react, because then she might react.
Exactly right.
And so they don't want to. So I go at, and
she can't see what's happening.
Right. She can't see, but she could see you seeing, and so they want people with a straight poker face who have seen this a lot of times and are not watching it happen to their wife and baby. So it's a reasonable ask. But so I go out, and I'm in the hallway in the maternity ward at Lenox Hill Hospital. And it just hit me. It was like, for the first time, I guess I had not really thought about this. I was just so excited to get my family started. But for the first time, it hit me that like something could go wrong, and that I could leave here alone. Like something could go wrong, that I could lose the baby, I could lose my wife, and it's totally out of my control. And like, as this started hitting me, I started like really getting emotional. And it's like, I'm out there, and I'm like, I'm crying in the hallway of this maternity ward. And immediately I just started talking to God. And I just started not just talking to God, but like negotiating with God. And I was just like, like, dear Lord, if you make sure that they're okay, I'm going to do, like, I'm going to be the best husband and the best father, and I will do this, and like all the different things in your life.
Had you ever prayed before?
No, never once in my life. And it all, like all the things that you're supposed to be doing that you're not doing that well. Like I was like, okay, I'll clean this up. I'll call my mom more often. I'll do this thing. And so anyway, so I just started like praying to God, and not just praying, but like negotiating. So anyway, everything was fine with that. But my wife, this was the first of many times. There were a bunch of complications in the pregnancy. Everyone came out okay, thank God. But so I ended up talking to God a lot that day. And then just like, as the days went on,
it's so interesting. It's just organic.
Well, that's
a lifetime of not believing, and then you just start.
And so
praying.
this is almost like what intellectually, converted me later. Was I was like, hey, what the hell was that? I mean, I can't look back and just ignore that.
Here's the facts of life you may not learn until you're older, but I'm going to tell you now. It's very hard to have a good time if you're wearing bad boots. In fact, it may be impossible, and that's why you need Tecovas. As a matter of fact, you don't just need them, you owe them to yourself. Tecovas makes Western boots for everybody, ranchers, real ranchers, lifelong cowboys, first-time boot buyers, and anyone in between. Every Tecovas boot is handcrafted, made by hand, with over 200 meticulous steps for a broken-in feel right out of the box. You don't have to compromise between looks and quality. You can have them both. Whether it's a long day or a big night, Tecovas are built to last and impressed. You wouldn't believe the compliments people here get when they wear them out, which they do. Right now, get 10% off at tecovas.com/Tucker when you sign up for email and text alerts. That's 10% off at Tecova, TECOVAS.com/Tucker.
And there was one, again, I'm almost a little uncomfortable talking about these things because I like talking about things where I have like a real tight argument that I can prove is irrefutable. This is a more
profound argument, actually.
But it was something where I was like, look, so in the moment when it was really all on the line and out of my control, I wasn't thinking maybe God exists. I knew for a 100% certainty, unlike nothing I've ever known in my life, that not only did I know that God existed, but I knew what he wanted from me. Like I knew what my negotiating power in this was, is that I could, you know what I'm saying? Like I could promise I'll be a good person. So not only did I know God existed, I knew that God wanted me to be a good person. And look, this is something that people who have found God know, and people who don't believe in God maybe will not accept. But there is something to when you open yourself up like that to God, you find out that he's real. And it's not like he speaks to you or he hallucinates. I don't see a fiery bush and the words of God started talking, but he fills you. When you open yourself like that to it, you get filled by it. And there's no more debate in your mind over whether that's a real phenomenon or not. You're like, any more than if I were to leave here and someone were to be like, do you believe in Tucker Carlson? And I'd be like, no, I know for certain. I know for a certainty that Tucker Carlson exists.
With him, yeah.
I was just with him. It's like that. And so it was, and it changed my life. And ever since I regularly pray to God. It's something I'm conscious of every single day.
No way.
Every day. And I don't even pray exactly. I don't ask for things ever. I ask for one thing ever from God, which is that my wife and my kids are healthy and safe. It's the only thing I ever pray for. I don't ask for anything. The only other thing that I do is I express gratitude. God, I just say thank you for everything I have. So that's the extent of it. But I think that I cannot overstate how much I think that's made me a better person.
Really?
Yeah, it's very, very good for you to constantly remind yourself how lucky you are that you have all the things that you have. It's very easy to get away from that, and that's where you ruin your inner happiness, your inner joy, is if you start taking the things you have for granted. Because once you when you think you could lose everything you already have and then you don't, that's when you really appreciate it. You really appreciate how lucky we all are.
Well, not to be too blunt or too personal, but you're on the cusp of change in your life on the basis of what's happened in the last month in your life. I've just seen this story so many times.
Yeah.
So to be vulgar, your income in this year will be higher than last year. I'm just telling you that because you're way more famous and you're also on the right side of history, I think.
Yeah, I hope so.
And certainly on the right side of popular opinion. So that, do you think, the danger in life is getting what you want and finding yourself unhappier. Are you worried about that?
No, I'm really not. And I do just think that it's because, again, if this was happening to me at 25 or at 30, I would be very concerned about that danger. Literally, what I just told you is kind of already happened in my life.
Yes.
I know who I am as a person. I kind of know what money actually means. There's lots of nice things. I'm not downplaying money. It's very important, particularly in my position. It's very important for me to be able to protect my wife and kids, that we have some money, you know what I mean, so that I can do that. But no, I'm not. I'm really not worried about that at this point. I think I've kind of, like, my wife herself is a very grounding force for me.
Yes.
She's the person whose approval I seek.
Yes.
She's the person whose opinion I really care about.
That marriage,
you know,
yes.
and so like that's and she keeps me very grounded. Also, just as you know, having these little kids just keeps you grounded because they just don't care at all.
Like
It's
literally
just
at all.
My 6-year-old the other day, we were out to dinner. And so we're out to dinner, we're sitting down, my wife, my 6-year-old girl and my 3-year-old boy, and the owner of the restaurant was like a fan of mine. So he comes over to the table, he goes, "Oh, thank you guys so much for coming. I just wanted to shake your hand. I really appreciate everything you're doing." And I was like, "Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that." So he leaves. And then my daughter, my 6-year-old, who's kind of 17, but she's 6, she turns over at me and she goes, "Why'd he come over and say hi to you, Dad? Because you're famous." And it just looks, and then just turned right back to her menu. I mean, it was like, she could not have just undercut me more than that. I was like,
Oh,
yeah, I guess I'm not really that cool. All right. But that stuff helps.
it's the
And
best.
so
It's the best.
I'm really lucky that I didn't have this moment 15 years ago,
Yes.
that I had it now. So I think I'll be good. But then, you cut back to me in a year. I come back here, I got like the shades on or something. It's totally ruined me.
Pellegrino, not Perrier. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.